is a real number. Every number you right now know is a real number. Irrational numbers are real numbers. Rational numbers are real numbers. So that means like fractions and decimals and repeating decimals and terminating decimals and positive and negative and zero and pi. Everything you know is a real number. Okay? Landon, what's your question?
Then how do we know what are not real numbers?
In Algebra 2, you will learn about imaginary numbers that are not real numbers. But up until then, everything is known as a real number.
So there's algebra 1 and algebra 2.
Correct.
Yeah. Why can't it just be algebra?
So, we are going to talk about how to order numbers, how to put them in order, how to convert them so that they all look the same, and how to put them in order. All right? The easiest way to work with numbers is if they're all in decimal form. So we're going to put that in our notes. We're going to say when ordering numbers, convert. What does convert mean?
To change.
Change, good. Convert all to decimals. When you are ordering numbers, you need to convert everything to a decimal. Everything should be a decimal. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask you some obvious questions. Are you ready?
Yeah.
If I said, let me write it down. If I said this number, can you convert that to a decimal?
No, it's already a decimal.
It's already a decimal, right?
Yeah. Technically you can't.
If I gave you this number,
Yep.
could you convert that number, this one right here, to a decimal?
Yep.
You can?
No.
I mean, I think you can.
I think you can too.
Landon, how do you do it?
You just put a decimal behind the 6 and you add a 0.
Yeah,
You can add.
it's a decimal, right? We just don't say that it's negative 6.0 because negative 6.0 is the same as negative 6, right? What if I gave you that? Carly M., what do you do?
Me?
Mhm.
Yes, you do. I think you do 1. Wait, no, it's 4.0. No.
What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? Think about it. Monroe, what do you do?
0.25.
How do you know? Okay, so what about this one?
That one too. Wouldn't it be 1 or 0 and 1 8 or 0 and 8? 0.8? No, 0.6.
Landon, what do you do?
0.36.
Eve, do you know?
She used a calculator. I know.
Okay, if you have a fraction, to convert a fraction to a decimal, to convert a fraction to a decimal, you do the numerator divided by the denominator. To convert a fraction to a decimal, you do the numerator divided by the denominator. When ordering numbers, we want to convert everything to a decimal. To convert a fraction to a decimal, we want to do numerator divided by denominator, okay? So we're going to order some numbers, some rational numbers, some fractions and decimals from smallest, least, to biggest, greatest. Least to greatest, okay? We're going to put them in order. Here are some things that we need to remember, right? If we have a number line, things we need to remember. If we have a number line, zeros in the middle, right?
Yep.
Numbers get larger going to the right. Numbers get smaller going to the left. Yes?
Yes.
Also, we need to remember
I realized why I didn't fit on the top.
Remember, the quote-unquote bigger the negative number, the smaller it is, right? -5 is smaller, is less than -1. Because here's -3, here's -4, here's -5. -5 is smaller, less than is the better word, right? -1.
Wouldn't it be also less than +2?
I mean, it's less than a lot of things, right?
The only thing that's not less than is -6 and a 4.
Okay, so we're remembering that stuff. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
What do you remember about absolute value?
Oh, I did.
Think before you want to answer. Let's talk about absolute value. Think about it. You learned about absolute value last year. Think about what we remember, because here's what I'm going to tell you. Absolute value is distance. Right?
Yeah.
There's no such thing as negative distance. If you watch me, I'm walking forward right now. I'm covering distance, yes? I'm walking backwards right now. I'm not going back in time. I'm still covering distance, right? Absolute value. Absolute value. Eliana, what is it? Yes, it's the distance a number is from 0. The absolute value of 4 is 4. Do you remember those lines mean absolute value? The absolute value of -4 is 4, because it's 4 spaces. The distance from 0 is 4. There's no such thing as -4 distance. You still have to go from 0 to -4. You have to go 1 space, 2 spaces, 3 spaces, 4 spaces. If I drive my car home going forward, it's not any different than if I was going to drive my car home going backward. I mean, it's dangerous, but it doesn't like take me back in time.
I wish it did though.
Girl,
Maybe if you go.
you want to redo a Friday? Not me.
Maybe if you go fast enough.
This is the hard one. This is the hard one. Can someone tell me how to read that problem? Right here, what I wrote this symbol, then I did an absolute value line, I wrote this symbol, the number, and the absolute value line. How would you read that? How would you read that? Emmanuel, how would you read that?
Opposite of the opposite.
Oh, music to my ears. It is the opposite, because negative also means opposite, right?
Yep.
The opposite of the absolute value of -4.
Which is -4.
Which would be,
-4.
because the absolute value of -4 is 4, but I want the opposite of it, so it would be -4.
Why don't they just
Why is math
This is
confusing?
exactly. Math is like.
Well,
All right,
they
here we
do
go.
things like that.
Let's do some.
These are
Okay. Practice. All right. Here are my numbers. We're going to go from least to greatest. I'm going to give you a list of numbers. We're going to start out with -8. Then I'm going to give you the square root of 17. Then I'm going to give you 0.4. Next will be 4/9. Then I will do pi.
Oh no, I don't know that.
Next, I will do 3.1. And last, I will do negative.
32.
20.
Negative absolute value of
2. -2.
0.3.
I heard 2.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, and I'm going to do one of those.
The opposite thingy. What is that?
Were you not just paying attention? We just wrote this in our notes.
All right, here we go. Your numbers are -8, square root of 17, 0.4, 4/9, 4/9, pi, 3.1, -2, the absolute value of 7. Here we go.
What's the number for pi?
We're going to do it. All right, so listen. Number 1, the first thing we do is convert everything to a decimal. But I'm going to add to that. I'm going to say line up vertically. Line up vertically. And I'm going to show you what that means. So which way is vertical?
This way.
Up and down. Up and down.
Up and down.
The way you
Vertical.
write it, it's a width.
Okay. We're going to convert everything to a decimal. So my first one, -8. How do I convert that to a decimal?
Decimal and the 0 after.
0.0. Perfect. The square root of 17.
I have no clue.
Calculator.
It doesn't do it on
I can. Yes, it does.
No, it does not.
Yes, it
It just
does.
says 17.
I get it. And then you press the conversion button.
What? What is
The double arrow button above the word enter next to the number 3.
How do you know
Oh.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm really confused. What?
The what? Wait, can you move your finger?
That's what I was wondering.
The square root of 17 is the square root of 17. And then you press this button.
Wait. How does yours do that?
Second, because see how it's in green above it?
Ours isn't like that.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, it is.
Where?
It's above x squared.
Divide by 7.
17.
So you press the green button to get to those green numbers.
Press it if we press the second.
Yeah, it does. You press second and then you press the X2 button.
Yeah, I am.
Oh, I got it. Because exponent button.
I can't get
And then you type in 17 and you press enter and it doesn't say anything. Stop and listen, listen, listen. You're okay. In my head, I'm estimating. What does it live between?
20 and 15. Wait, no, hold up.
What does it live between? We just took notes about 16 and 25. Meaning that means it's between 4 and 5, but closer to 4. So when I press that conversion button, it is really close to 4. So I'm going to put 4.1231 dot dot dot.
Wouldn't that number be irrational?
It is irrational because it is the square root of a non-perfect square. And see how I'm lining them up vertically?
Yeah.
The next one I'm going to do is 0.4. Then I'm going to do this one. How do I convert 4/9? Numerator divided by denominator. 4 divided by 9 is
0.444444.
Put the line over it. Sign at the end. Put the line over it.
just wait.
When you just put the line over, like
Just wait. Pi is 3.14 dot dot dot, right? 3.14159 blah 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 forever. Yes? Keep going. Then we get 3.1. Then I get negative 2.0. And last, the absolute value of 7 is 7.0. All right. It is. You're okay. Keep with us. The first thing we did was we converted everything to a decimal and we lined it up vertically. The second thing we're going to do is we are going to make all place values match, which means add in zeros if you need to. So if you look, I wrote 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places. I'm going to add in 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. I'm going to add in 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. I'm going to add in 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I get it. And we'll get really good at this, and you won't need to do this part because you'll be able to see it automatically. But right now, as we're learning it, this can be helpful.
wait, when did there be 5? Wait, there is 5.
There's 4.
Oh,
No, there's 5 zeros.
There's 5 numbers, but there's only 4 zeros on them.
not on all of them. On one of them, there's 3 of them.
I know.
Then I'm going to start going from left to right, just like we read. and I'm looking for the smallest number. So now I'm going to start to order from left to right. And I'm going to cross out when done. When I order it, I'm going to cross it out so it disappears. All right, so I'm going to start on my left because I lined them all up. What's my smallest number on my left?
Negative 8.
-8. Is there anything smaller than that?
No.
So that is my smallest number. I'm going to look back here, and that was -8, right? Don't black it out because you still want to be able to see it because these are your notes, right? Does that make sense? So I did -8. Now I'm going to look. What's my smallest number on the left?
Negative 2.
-2 down here. And it was this one right here, right?
Yep.
So I'm going to write -2. Now what's my smallest number?
0.
There are 2 of them though.
Yeah.
So now I go to the next spot, left to right. What's right?
4.
They're both the same, right?
Yeah.
Go to the next one. This one is smaller. So I look, this was the 1, 2, 3 third number. 1, 2, 3 third number. So my next value is 0.4.
And then the next one is that 0.44.
Wait, this whole time we were just trying to figure out how to put them from.
Oh no, I crossed out the wrong thing. Ah!
It doesn't matter.
4.12310 ... Dang it. Okay. So now what's the smallest number?
0.444444.
0.4 repeating, which I look back up here and that was really 4 ninths.
Wait, what? You didn't cross it out.
Ah!
You crossed the
Okay.
Now 3.
Now my smallest number is 3, but they're the same.
Yes.
So I go to the next. 1, they're the same.
And then 0.
0, which is really 3.1. So I'm going to write 3.1.
Then pi.
And then my smallest digit is 3.14, which was pi.
Can you just write the pi sign?
Yep. Then my next smallest digit is
Square root of 17.
4, because I have 4 and 7 left, right? But I go back, and that was really
Root of 17.
the square root of 17. And I can finally cross that out. And then my last one is,
Absolute value of 7.
and now they're in order from least to greatest.
And why did we do this?
Because you have to be able to move numbers around. Because you have to know the value of a number.